Hello everyone, and welcome to number 21 of our Funday Monday sessions. Today we are going to be making a lion bath mitt. It is designed by Darla out of the book 1-2-3 Skein Crochet, edited by Judy. The items that you are going to need are a 5-point hook size H, a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, some lotion to keep your best tool, your hands moisturized and hydrated. If you're ready, we're going to go ahead and get started making the body of our bath mitt. I'm going to start by using my gold yarn, my yellow yarn, and we'll start with a slip knot. So we'll wrap the yarn around our finger, our index finger, and then I'm going to wrap it again right behind that first wrap. Then I'm going to slightly pull the front wrap, the first one, up just so much that I can stick my hook underneath. I'm going to grab the second yarn, pull it through, and I have created my slip knot. We're going to start with a foundation chain of 17. So go ahead and chain 17 chains. Remember that the chain that you started with on your hook does not count. We are going to work single crochets all the way across, starting in the second chain from the hook. So we're going to skip this first chain right here, and we're going to go right into the second one and work a single crochet by inserting our hook, yarning over and pulling up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through both loops, and you've created your first single crochet. And we're going to work a single crochet in each of those stitches across, so that when we get to the end of the row, we'll actually have 16 single crochet stitches. And we are just working those 16 single crochet stitches across. And that completes row 1. And so to begin row 2, we are going to turn our work. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to work all the way across again, working a single crochet into each of the 16 stitches. So go ahead and complete row 2, working a single crochet in each stitch across. I will meet up with you when you get to the end, and again when you complete row 2, you will have a total of 16 single crochet stitches. When you reach the end of row 2, you'll have 16 single crochet stitches. We're going to turn our work and chain 1. For rows 3 through 10, we are simply going to repeat row 2, which is just working single crochet stitches all the way across the row. So when you get to the end of row 10, you are still going to have 16 single crochet stitches across your rows. So go ahead and work rows 3 through 10, working a single crochet stitch into each stitch across, and I will meet up with you at the end of row 10. When you get to the end of row 10, we're going to turn our work, and to start row 11, we will chain 1. Then working in this very first stitch right here, we're going to work 2 single crochets into that very first stitch. So there's 1, and going right back in, we're going to work a second single crochet. Then we're going to work a single crochet in each of the stitches across until we get to the very last stitch. When we get to the last stitch, we are going to work 2 single crochets into it just like we did into the beginning stitch of row 11. So let's just work this row together, placing a single crochet in each stitch all the way down to the end of the row until we have the very last stitch remaining. And we have now reached the end of the row. We have 1 stitch remaining, and we're going to go ahead and work 2 single crochets right into that very last stitch. And that will complete row 11. And you can see how your bath mitt is starting to expand outward to form the thumb and the pinky finger holes. So to begin rows 12 and 13, we're going to turn our work, and we're going to repeat row 11 by chaining 1, working 2 single crochets right into this very first stitch, working a single crochet in each stitch across, and then 2 single crochets into the very last stitch. And then you'll begin row 13 by repeating row 11 of chaining 1, working 2 single crochets into the first stitch, a single crochet in each stitch across, and 2 single crochets into the very last stitch. So go ahead and finish rows 12 and 13, and I will meet up with you at the end of row 13. We have reached the end of row 13, and to begin the next row, we're going to turn our work. We're going to chain 1, and for rows 14 through 17, we are simply going to repeat row 2, which is chain 1 and work a single crochet in each stitch across. And this will give us a total of 22 single crochets across the row. So go ahead and work rows 14 through 17 by working a single crochet stitch in each stitch across, making sure that you end up with 22 stitches at the end of each row. I will meet back up with you when we get to the end of row 17. When you get to the end of row 17, we're going to turn our work, and to start row 18, we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to work a single crochet decrease over the first 3 stitches. So to do that, you're going to insert your hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and insert your hook into the third stitch and pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through all 4 loops on that hook. And then we're going to work a single crochet into each stitch across until we have 3 stitches remaining. When we get to the end and we have the 3 stitches remaining, we're going to do just what we did here at the beginning, and we're going to do a single crochet decrease over each of those stitches. So go ahead and work a single crochet in each stitch across. When you get to the end and you have 3 stitches remaining, I will meet back up with you. When you have just 3 stitches remaining, we're going to work a single crochet decrease across them. We're going to insert our hook into the first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and insert our hook into the very last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through all 4 loops. And that completes row 18. And you should have a total of 18 single crochets across that row. We're going to turn our work, and for row 19 we're going to repeat row 18. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work a single crochet decrease across the first 3 stitches. So insert your hook in the first one, yarn over and pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and insert into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And now we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch across until we get to the last 3 stitches. When we get to the last 3 stitches, we will end the row just like we did at the beginning of the row by doing a single crochet decrease over 3 stitches. So let's just work our single crochet in each stitch across. And now we're down to 3 stitches remaining, and we're going to work a single crochet decrease across those remaining 3 stitches. So insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, insert into the next, yarn over and pull up a loop, and insert into the last stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. 4 loops are on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. This gives you a total of 14 single crochet across that row. For row 20, we're going to turn our work. We're going to chain 1, and now we're going to single crochet decrease across 2 single crochets. So we're going to insert our hook into the first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. We have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. Now we're going to single crochet in each stitch across until we come to the very last 2 stitches. So let's work that single crochet in each stitch across. And we now have 2 stitches remaining, so we're going to do a single crochet decrease across those 2 stitches. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through. We're going to turn our work, and to begin row 21 all the way through 23, we're going to repeat row 2, which is chain 1, and work a single crochet in each stitch across. So at the end of each row, you should have a total of 12 single crochets in each row. So go ahead and work rows 21, 22, and 23, repeating row 2 of chain 1 and a single crochet stitch in each stitch across. And I will meet you at the end of row 23. So this is what our little bath mitt is starting to look like. We're at the end of row 23. We have 3 rows left to complete this side of our bath mitt. So to start row 24, we're going to turn our work. We're going to chain 1, and we are going to work a single crochet decrease across the first 2 stitches. So insert your hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then we are going to work a single crochet into each stitch across until we have just 2 stitches remaining. So let's go ahead and work a single crochet into each stitch across until we have 2 stitches left. And when we get down to the end, right here where we have just 2 stitches remaining, we're going to work a single crochet decrease across those 2 stitches. So insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, insert your hook into that very last stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And that completes row 24. So for rows 25 and 26, we're going to turn our work and we are going to repeat row 24. And again, the way we did that was we chained 1, we worked a single crochet decrease across the first 2 stitches, we worked a single crochet into each stitch across until we got to the very last 2 stitches, and then we worked a single crochet decrease across those last 2 stitches. And so we're just working all the way down the row until we get to the very last 2 stitches, and here we are, and we're going to work a single crochet decrease across those last 2 stitches. We're going to turn our work and we're going to chain 1, and this is the very last row of this side of the bath mitt, and we're going to work a single crochet decrease across those first 2 stitches, and then we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch across until we get to the very last 2, where we will end with a single crochet decrease in those 2 stitches. And here we are. So we're going to work our single crochet decrease, and this is our last row, and at the end of this row we should have a total of 6 stitches across. We're going to go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to cut off a tail, and pull that all the way through. And now we're going to weave in our ends. So if you will, go ahead and weave your ends in, and I will meet back up with you. Here we are with our completed first side of our bath mitt. Our ends are all weaved in, and so now we need to create one more of these. So go ahead and follow the same pattern of how you created this first side and make a second one, and I will meet back up with you when we have both sides of our bath mitt created. So we have finished both sides of our bath mitt. We have our front and our back side. And if we put them together, that is what they look like. We're going to put them to the side for now, and we're going to work on the face of our lion. Now to do the face of the lion, you can start this in 2 ways. We're going to work it in a round. You can either chain 2 and put 8 single crochets in that second chain from the hook, or you can create a magic ring. For this tutorial, we're going to create the magic ring. If you're not certain how to do that, I do have a special tutorial on how to create a magic ring that you can go and watch. So we're going to wrap that yarn around our fingers. We're going to wrap it a second time. I'm going to hold it between my ring finger and my pinky finger. I'm going to grab my hook and come up under this first strand here. And with my hook, I'm going to grab the second strand and pull it through and twist so that I can come around and grab that strand that I'm holding between my ring finger and my pinky finger. I'm going to pull it through, and then just to secure it on the magic ring, I'm going to chain 1. And now we're going to work 8 single crochets right here in the center of this magic ring. So I'm going to insert my hook into the ring, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And there's not a lot to hold on to, so just try to grip it as best you can and create your single crochet. And there's 1. We're going to do that 7 more times. And we have 5. We got 3 more to do. And again, not having anything to hold on to, just do the best you can. And again, you can chain 2 and work 8 single crochets into that second chain from the hook. And that should be our 8th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then just simply pull that magic ring shut and just pull it nice and tight as you can. And just so we can close our ring, we're going to come right into this very first stitch. And we're going to join it with a slip stitch. Okay. All right. Now to get started with round 2, we are not going to chain. We're going to go right back into that same stitch, and we're going to work 2 single crochets right into that same stitch. So 1 and 2. And then we're going to work 2 single crochets in each stitch around, and that will give us a total of 16 single crochets for round 2. All right, and we have now completed working 2 single crochets in each stitch around, and that gives us a total of 16 single crochets. And I'm going to just give my magic ring another little tug so it keeps it nice and closed in. And for round 3, we're not going to chain 1. We're not going to slip stitch to join. We're just going to go right into that very first stitch, and we're going to work a single crochet. So go into that very next stitch and work 1 single crochet, and then into the next stitch we're going to work 2 single crochets. And so we're going to have a repeat pattern of 1 2 1 2. So we've just done our first 1 2. We're going to do that a total of 8 times, which will give us a total of 24 single crochets at the end. So let's count them together so we can keep up. So we've just completed our first repeating set of 1 2. So that's 1. We're going to go into the next stitch and do a single crochet, and in the next stitch we're going to work 2 single crochets, and that completes our second set of our repeating pattern. Now we're going to do the third set with a single crochet into the next stitch and 2 single crochets into the next stitch. A single, whoops, I didn't get all my yarn. Let me grab all my yarn. All right, and in the next stitch we'll create a single crochet, and in the next stitch 2 single crochets, and this completes our fourth set. In the next stitch a single crochet, and in the next one 2 single crochets, and this completes our fifth set of our repeating pattern. And in the next one a single crochet, and in the next one 2 single crochets, and this completes our sixth set. We have 2 more sets to go. This yarn is fraying quite a bit. All right, in the next one we have a single crochet, and in the next stitch 2 single crochets, and this completes our seventh set. We have 1 more set to complete, and we'll do that by a single crochet into the next stitch and 2 single crochets into the last stitch, and this will give us a total of 24 single crochets. And this will also complete round 3. We have 2 more rounds to go. So for round 4, we're not going to chain 1, and we're not going to slip stitch to join. We're going to go right in to that very first stitch with a single crochet. We're going to go into the next stitch with a single crochet, and then into the next stitch we will work 2 single crochets, and that will establish our repeat pattern for this round, and that will be a pattern of 1 1 2, and of course all of our stitches are single crochet, and we're going to do this a total of 8 times, giving us 32 single crochets at the end of this round. So let's go ahead and start our second set of our repeating pattern with a single crochet in the next stitch, a single crochet into the next stitch, and 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And let's repeat that. A single crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into the next stitch, and 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And that completes the third set of our repeating pattern. And into the next stitch we'll work a single crochet, and into the next one a single crochet, and into the next stitch we'll work 2 single crochets, and that completes our fourth set of the repeating pattern. We're halfway through this fourth round. So into the next stitch work a single crochet, and into the next stitch work a single crochet, and into the next stitch work 2 single crochets, and this will complete our fifth set. And I apologize, this yarn keeps splitting. and into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch 2 single crochets. And that completes our 6th set. We have 2 more to complete. Into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch 2 single crochets. And this completes our 7th round. 1 set left. Our 7th set, excuse me. And we'll work a single crochet into the next stitch, and 2 single crochets into this very last stitch. And this will complete round 4, and again you will have 32 single crochets. We're now going to work on the 5th round, and to do that we are going to again not chain 1 and not slip stitch to join. Okay, we're going to go right in, and I apologize, this yarn keeps splitting. We're going to go right into this very next stitch, and we're going to work a single crochet, and into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch a single crochet, and then into the very next stitch we will work 2 single crochets, and that will establish our repeat pattern for this round. And that is single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, 2 single crochets. And that will establish our repeating pattern, and we will complete that a total of 8 times. So we just completed the first one, so let's go into set 2. So single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet into the next stitch, and 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And that completes our little set for the second time. So then in the next stitch we'll do a single crochet, into the next stitch a single crochet, into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch 2 single crochets. And this will complete set 3 of our repeating pattern. All right, and let's do it again. Into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch a single crochet, and into the next stitch 2 single crochets. And that will complete our 3rd set. All right, let's do it again. We're going to work a single crochet, a single crochet, a single crochet, and 2 single crochets. And this completes our 4th set, and this has us at the halfway mark for round 5, which is also our final round. So let's complete that pattern again. A single crochet, and I do apologize, this yarn keeps splitting. So we're starting our 5th set. A single crochet, a single crochet, a single crochet into the next stitch, and 2 single crochets into the next. And that completes our 5th set. And let's do it again. A single crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into the next stitch, and 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And that completes our 6th set. And let's do it again. Single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and 2 single crochets. And that completes our 7th set. We have one more to do. And single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and in this very last stitch we will work 2 single crochets, and then this time we are going to join by going right into that first single crochet and doing a slip stitch to join. I'm just going to kind of stretch it out and loosen a little bit so I have a nice round circle like that. All right, I'm then going to chain 1, and then I'm going to cut myself a little bit of a tail for weaving in. Just pull that all the way through like that and give it a nice little snug tug. And now we're going to work our ends in. Now as we work the rounds, we could have worked that in, and I honestly meant to, but I didn't. So I'm just going to take a minute to weave in both my ends, and I will meet back up with you and we'll work on putting the mane on our face. So here we have our completed face for our lion, and now we're going to add our mane on. And the way we're going to do that, I am going to create a slip knot, leaving myself just a little bit of a tail. And then I'm going to grab any one of these single crochets. You can just pick it up anywhere, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to slide my little orange that I'm using onto my hook. And I am going to join this by pulling it through, and then I'm going to take my working yarn and just slip stitch it on, and then I'm going to work this tail in this time as we go around, and I'm going to go right back into that same stitch, and I'm going to create a single crochet. All right, and now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and now I'm going to single crochet right into the very next stitch, and as I do, I'm going to secure this foundation tail or my slip knot tail in as I go. All right, and now I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to go right into that next stitch and work a single crochet. And I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, and 3, and go right into that next stitch and work a single crochet. And then let's just stop and take a look, and we can see how this is already starting to create a mane around our lion. And I'm going to do this a couple more times to secure that tail in, and then I'm just going to trim off the excess. And I'll probably just do it one more time, and that should be plenty to secure that tail in, and chain in 3, and now I'm going to single crochet right into that next stitch, and I have worked that tail in enough that I'm just going to cut off the excess there, and we're going to continue going all the way around, doing a chain 3 and then single crocheting into the very next stitch. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and I will meet back with you when we get back to the beginning. That is already looking so cute. And action. So we have come all the way back around, and as you can see, we have this little opening. So we are going to chain 3, and then we're going to go right here into this first single crochet, and we're going to join with a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 1, and then we're just going to cut off a little tail there, and we're going to pull it all the way through and pull it down a little nice and snug, and then we just need to weave that tail in. So go ahead and weave this tail in, and then we'll come back and we will put a face on our lion. So here is our lion head. We're going to go ahead and put our face on. I have about 15-20 inches of black yarn cut and already on my yarn needle. The last time we made a bath mitt, we created the eyes doing a French knot. This time we're going to use our yarn needle and yarn to create the eyes by doing a satin stitch. So you can pick anywhere on your head that you want to start, it doesn't matter. But wherever you pick, kind of imagine a center line. And when you find that center line, take your yarn needle and go about 2 single crochets in. And we're going to move from there to create the eyes. So go about 3 single crochets over. And when you find that spot, we're going to pull the yarn through, and you want to leave just a little bit of a tail. You don't have to leave a whole lot. And then insert your hook right in front of where you came up through, and just hold your tail on the back so it doesn't pull through. And then we're just going to continue working that satin stitch to create the eye. And we're just going to move towards our imaginary center line that we have created. And just create an eye. And just keep moving towards the center. And I'll probably just do this a couple more times because I am coming up on my center. close in this little gap right here. So I'll do one more over that. And that's kind of created enough of a little eye there. So now this is my center. So I'm going to come one over, and I'm going to start this again, moving towards this side here. So let me pull this through. And to keep it kind of even with this side, I'm going to start it right there. And I'm going to do the same method using that satin stitch method to create the second eye for my lion. And you might have to just play with your needle a little bit. I mean, the yarn needle is kind of a blunt needle going through that thick cotton yarn. So there might be times where you have to kind of just wiggle it in so that you get it right where you want it. And I'm just going to do a couple more. So that both eyes on each side are about the same width. And so there are my two lion eyes. So when you have your eyes completed, we're just going to turn it over. And I'm going to take the two strands, because they are not going to be seen, and I'm just going to knot them down. And after you knot them a couple times and they're nice and tight, you can just cut your yarn. You can weave them in if you want, but you really don't have to, because that part of your lion is not going to be seen. So I'm going to cut mine, and I'm just leaving a little bit of a tiny tail on them. Again, it's not going to be seen. And there is the start of my little lion face. I'm then going to grab some cream yarn, and again, you don't need very much. Because we're just going to create a little nose and a mouth. So probably about the same amount of yarn as you did on the eyes, about 15-20 inches. And then go ahead and get it on your yarn needle. And so for the nose, we're going to come right here, kind of between the middle of the two eyes, but below it, below the eyes enough that you've got some space. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the eyes, just leave a very tiny tail here. And then we're going to use that same satin method with the nose and come across. So you can clearly see that I've got a little bit of space under the eyes here. And then we're going to come back and increase that nose a little bit. And I've got a little bit of a space in here, so I'm going to come back between those two lines and close it in. Oh yes. And now I'm going to try to maneuver my hook, or my needle I should say, so that I can start making the tip of my nose just a little bit smaller than the rest of it. Again, it's a blunt needle, so you might have to just kind of wiggle it a little bit to get it where you want it. And that created a little bit of a gap, so I'm going to do one more. Right there. So it kind of created a little bit of a triangle, so to speak. So then we are going to create the rest of the nose and the mouth with what we call a back stitch. I'm just going to come right here, and then I'm going to join it with the nose so that it creates a little bit of a line. And we're going to do that one more time. And just like this. And we're going to do the same method to create the mouth. And just kind of curve around on that round there. And I think that's gone high enough. So they didn't do this in the pattern, but I am going to do this on mine. I'm going to create this little line across my smile line. Like so. And now I'm going to come back over here. And again, don't worry about what it looks like on the back here, because this is not going to be seen. And I'm going to continue making the rest of my smile. And let's just carry it across, and it looks like I need to go up one more. And then just like I did over there, I'm going to create this little smile line. There we go. Oh yes, now that looks even. And there's my little lion face. Oh, I love it. That looks adorable. That is so cute. All right, so we're going to do the same thing back here that we did with the eyes, and just kind of take it and knot it a little bit. You'll have to pull it tight because you don't want to make your head wonky. But because this won't be seen, it's going to be sewn down. And just knot those together like that. And then just cut off the excess. Again, I left just a little bit of a tail on them. It's not going to be seen. And there's my little lion face. It's so cute. So we're going to grab one of our bath mitts to be the front of our bath mitt, and we're going to sew our little lion head on. And when it's sewn on, I'm going to do it in a way that the mane is hanging over the top a little bit. So I've cut some gold yarn so that as it goes around, it won't be seen. It will match. And I cut about 25-30 inches. So when I make sure that I have it about where I want it, I'm going to come through the bath mitt itself and then just come straight through to the lion head. And I'm going to pull it through, and I do want to give myself enough of a tail that I will be able to weave in later so it can't be seen. And then I'm just going to walk around the head, sewing it on. I guess walk wasn't exactly a good term. I'm going to move around the head. And right now I'm just holding that tail in place so that as I get my first few stitches on, that it stays in place. And then I'm just going to stitch my head on all the way around the body. Or the head and body. So go ahead and move all the way around the head, sewing it on. And when you get back to the beginning here and your head is completely sewn on, go ahead and fasten off and weave in your ends, and we'll move on to assembling the front and the back pieces together. This little guy is so adorable. And of course that's what it looks like in the back, and it's got the little mane hanging over a little bit, but you can see that it's sewn down. I just love that. So now we're going to take the back piece and measure it up with the front piece. And I'm going to take my yellow yarn, since it's yellow, I want it to match going around. And you could do it a different color if you want, but I want mine to blend in, so I'm going to use the same color. And I'm going to create a little bit of a slip knot here. And I am going to start right here, and I am going to insert my hook into the same stitches in the corner here. I'm going to slip my slip knot on, and then I'm going to just tighten the yarn down on the hook, and I'm going to pull it through, and then I'm going to create, separate my yarns there, a slip stitch to secure it on. I will work in this little tail as I go, but I'm just going to do single crochets all the way around. So I'm going to go right back in here into these 2 stitches, and I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to single crochet. And I'm going to literally do that all the way around my bath mitt, just joining them together with single crochet stitches. And when I get far enough along that I feel like that tail that I had is secure, I will cut off the remaining portion. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that took care of that little tail that I had. And then I'm just going to keep going around the edges and joining them with a single crochet stitch. So go ahead and do the same, and I will meet back up with you when we work our way all the way around, and I'll meet you back here at the beginning. Make sure you leave a little opening here for your hand to be able to go in. So I've come back to show you real quick as I'm coming around the top here. And you know, I told you I wanted to have the mane where it was hanging off a little bit. I'm still just following along the seams and joining with a single crochet, but I just wanted to show you how I was just going up into that very top stitch there and working into it just like I was going around the part of the body over here. But I'm just kind of leaning that mane forward so I can get up into that stitch to join it with a single crochet. And again, and you might just have to peel the or push the mane forward just so you can get in there and get in those stitches. I'm going to make sure I get both strands when I go in, so it helps keep a secure seam, as this will be washed many times. So you want to make sure you have a really solid seam going around. So you want to make sure you're going under both loops of both the front stitch and the back stitch. All right, so let me just stop a minute, because the point was to try and show you how I was coming around that. But there again, you can see how it is together, and yet the mane is still kind of playing in the wind, so to speak, and being playful and kind of giving it that little play effect. So I absolutely love this. All right, so go ahead and finish sewing up all the way around this side of the body, and I will meet you back right here. So when you've come back around and you're at the end here, and you have created a seam and closed everything up except for the little armhole here, we are going to chain one, and then we're going to go ahead and cut a little bit of a tail. And pull it through and tighten it down. And so just take a minute to weave in that end, and I will be back and we will put a cuff on, and then our little bath mitt will be complete. That is just so adorable. So here is our little bath mitt. It is so adorable, and all it needs is a cuff around the end here, and you can do the cuff in whatever color you want. You can bring in a whole new color. You can do it in the same color that the mane was done in. I am going to choose to actually do mine in the cream color that I did the nose piece in. So this is the color that I'm going to accent mine with. So to get started, we're going to create a slip knot. And I'm going to do it where I've got a little bit of a tail to sew in. And there we go. All right, so I'm just going to pick up my bath mitt, and I kind of want to start in a corner here. So I'm going to go in the corner. I'm going to grab my slip knot, put it on my hook, tighten it down, and then I'm going to pull it through and find my working yarn here, and I'm going to slip stitch it on, and then going right into that same stitch, I am going to do a single crochet. And I'm going to work a single crochet in each stitch around the base, and as I go, I will work in this little tail so I don't have it to weave in. And so I'm just going to work myself, I'm going to work my way around the base of this bath mitt by just putting a single crochet in each stitch around. And I've secured that tail in pretty good. So I'm just going to trim off any that I have left. And I'm going to just keep working all the way around, working a single crochet in each of these stitches. So continue going all the way around the base of your bath mitt, placing a single crochet stitch and each stitch around, and I will meet you when we get back to the beginning where we started with the first stitch of the cuff. So we have made it back around to the very beginning of where we started. And so I am going to come right into this first single crochet that we made, and I'm going to join with the slip stitch. I'm going to chain one, and I'm going to go right into that same stitch and work a single crochet, and I'm going to go all the way around the base of my bath mitt again, working a single crochet in each single crochet that I made on the previous round. So go ahead and work your way all the way around the edge of the bath mitt one more time, making single crochets in each single crochet around, and I will meet you when you get back to where you began. So when you work your way around the second round and you get back to the beginning, we're going to work this just like we did the last time. Now remember, this is considered a false stitch. That's where we did the slip stitch to join. So we are not going to put a single crochet into that stitch. We are going to go into the very first stitch of the second round, and we're going to slip stitch to join. We're going to chain one, and we're going to repeat the last row one final time by working a single crochet in each stitch around. And when you get all the way back to the beginning of where you started on this round, you will end it just like you have the previous rounds by joining to the top of the first single crochet with a slip stitch, and then fasten off, weave in your ends, and your bath mitt will be completed, and you will have a lion bath mitt to use for yourself or use as a gift to give away to someone. So go ahead and finish this final round on the cuff, and I will meet back up with you after we have fastened off and weaved in our last tail, and we'll take a look at our final lion mitt, bath mitt, in its completed form. So here is the final lion bath mitt. It is absolutely adorable. I am in love with this bath mitt. And so here we go. And then we can bring in his friend the elephant from last week. These are just so adorable and will be so much fun. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial, making the lion bath mitt. And until next time, be joyful, stay crafty in your own way, and make your own joyful creations. Bye.